and a very good morning to you. Very good afternoon, rather. That's me saying good morning, and I wasn't on the screen, which is really ridiculous. I'm sitting here talking to myself, but I am live. We are live, and it's the Midday Show. Hello there. Welcome to the Wednesday edition. Got two fantastic guests coming up today, one of whom has lost her voice. So I'm going to keep it very brief with her. She's been on before. We were going to launch her book, do a little cheeky book launch today. So what I'm going to do is, or shall I get Dave on now? Also talking about alpha waves. Alpha waves, I hear you cry. Well, did you know that our brains make brainwaves? You hear the phrase, I've had a brainwave. Literally, that is literally true at some points. And there's different kinds of waves depending on a myriad of factors. And some waves are conducive for some things and some waves are conducive for others. But it also works the other way around. If we need to be relaxed, open, receptive, beta waves are not the best for that. Alpha waves, which we're going to talk about today, there's also delta and theta. You may have heard of theta healing. There is that. And then gamma, which is very intense focus. So we're going to be talking to Dave, who I did see tried to enter the studio and is not there anymore. So we're going to be talking to Dave and hopefully going to be talking to Serena. I've sent her, are we okay with kids in the background? Yes, of course we are. And I'm going to pop the link in the studio in Facebook now. Let's just quickly pop that. And I do all my own production, you know. This is live radio. There we go. So we sent her a link and we'll have a little chat. Of course, we're okay with kids. We're okay with kids. We're okay with animals. We're okay with just about everything. So that's cool. In fact, we prefer it that way. It makes it more kind of real, doesn't it? So hopefully, let's talk to Serena first, I think, today. Any comments, any questions, particularly about the alpha waves, give us a shout. But I'm going to keep it relatively short with this lady because she's very kind to come on. And she lost her voice, Serena Novelli, pronouns she, her, founder of the Love Thy Body Project. Good morning. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good morning. I've gone for the old, 90s remedies of lockets to try and bring it back. So like this morning, it literally could hardly say anything. So you've got me. Hopefully I sound okay. If I squeal a little bit.
It's lovely to have you, and thank you so much for coming on. Just for the benefit of your voice, because I don't want you straining it, we're going to keep it brief this morning, but I did promise to have you back on. You've got a new book coming out, haven't you?
I've got the book here. So, oh my goodness, I was just showing it to somebody. So we had a new book. So I've been working with 50 individuals on this. So it's a collaboration. And we had a limited edition pink cover, which was for like 72 hours. The book went live Monday, the 15th. And we went to #1 on the Amazon charts. So I've got the limited edition cover. It's a big proper hardback. But
Beyond the Mirror.
Beyond the Mirror. We've even got a web link page to this now because not only
what is the web link page? We'll pop it on the screen.
So it is beyondthemirror.com. And the reason we've done a separate web page for that is because as we were doing the book, we took some photos of the individuals. So I'll just show you here. So I know that you can see that visual. So we've got, so this is Sarah, one of the co-authors, and they've all got their individual photos in there. And so we interviewed and did filmed the process. And when that was put together, we very quickly got feedback that it should be on streaming sites for people to stream. So it will be live on Amazon Prime very soon. We're still waiting for Amazon to do their bits, but the web page is all up there. There's the link to the book. There's other little mini interviews. And then the documentary that's going to be on Amazon Prime will be featured on there as well.
Very quickly, just tell us, just to give us a little bit of context, very briefly, what do you do again?
So I am the founder of a company called Love Thy Body Project, which supports women around body confidence. But I'm also a certified relationship and intimacy female sexuality coach. And so I work with couples, relationships, and women around sexuality. And I'm currently training in my last year as a psychosexual therapist as well. So anything intimacy, little one's telling me something as well at the same time. Did you hear that? Anything
I did.
intimacy,
It's charming. Don't worry, it's fine.
yeah, intimacy, relationships, or like body, like kind of hang-ups and
And
stuff.
you don't have to be with a partner to explore your sexuality, do you?
No, not at all. No,
Not at all.
it's definitely something you should be exploring for yourself first and foremost, because if you don't know your own body and what your body needs or wants or like, you can't really articulate that to somebody else. So
I've always believed that, and it's always made for an awkward conversation. You know, with our British attitudes about sex. Oh my goodness me, you're not suggesting that, are you? But when it turns out that that's the most important thing, like any self-development starts with the self. Otherwise, you're relying on someone else to give you what you need. And I've had people say to me before, and I expected him to know what I wanted. Then I get cross with him. Well, it's not his fault. It's about communication both ways. But you can't communicate what you want unless you know what you want, and you can't know what you want or like unless you explore what you want or like. So it makes perfectly logical to me. And what's the purpose of this book, briefly?
So this book is around it's around the inclusion of all bodies. So basically, as women, predominantly women, but we all face it. There's a beauty standard or an aesthetic that is championed, and everybody feels that we should be conforming to. So this book kind of celebrates all bodies, diversity, the inclusion of all bodies. So whether that be somebody that's like in their teens all the way up to like their 80s, somebody that's able, somebody that's less able, somebody with disability, somebody that's on their body might be the larger size or the smaller size.
So it's the question of accepting and loving yourself,
for who you are,
and
for who you are, and trying not to conform or like trying to get to that ideal, because we're never going to like.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if we'd only make up our bloody minds what the ideal is.
I mean, it's changed,
and it constantly changes, and none of the state. I mean, I remember the heroin chic of the 90s when it was called like a heroin addict waif, and I remember that shit.
And so that's come back round, and so it's really important that we have these conversations, because I'm 48. And so I grew up in the heroin era. Thank you. I got told that by 2 28-year-olds yesterday, so I was very chuffed.
It's probably much nicer coming from them than me, but you're welcome.
So basically, that's come back around, but in a kind of modern day way. But the ethos is the same. So London Fashion Week was last week, and there's 0.3% of the people on the catwalk are curvier women. It's all kind of, even like big brands like Zara, Marks and Spencer's, their adverts are going back to that very.
So we've still got this ethos of essentially thin is good.
It's kind of come back round, and the adverts have been banned by. They were banned by Zara and Marks and Spencer's, because the person that they were showing was wafer thin, which then can cause so much around body issues, especially
at worst it could be dangerous, couldn't it?
Yeah, and if you think about like when I was young, I feel like really old. When I was young,
like in my day,
when Kate Moss was the ideal, promoting like the Diet Coke and like skinny. What is it? I can't remember her words. Something or other isn't as good as skinny feels, or something. I can't remember what it was now. The quote that she used. And then you had all the airbrushing in the magazines, and the cellulite, all of the comments around the cellulite, and all of the celebrities like being zoomed in on their cellulite. And then if you could like pinch an inch, then you weren't like falling into that aesthetic.
I remember that advert. I remember if you can pinch more than an inch. I mean, but
I think that was Kellogg's, wasn't it? Yeah.
If you can pinch more than an inch, absolutely.
Yeah. And
not all of Kellogg's stuff is healthy. If it's filled with sugar, I'm not surprised to pinch.
Exactly. And then you had the Ryvita diet as well when I was a teenager, which my mum was doing. But my mum was doing it, but then in the nighttime still eating Ryvita, but slopping so much butter on it to make it taste nice. So like defeating the object. And so we're always like in this cycle. And I didn't have the internet. I had 3 channels, maybe 4 once Channel 4 came. And so when I came home from school or when I was at home, it was kind of, I was shut off from that, from the world. But now the young generation, the teenagers that are seeing this now,
Bombarded.
they don't have that luxury of shutting it off. It's 24/7. And I know what it did to me. I had eating disorder, suffered with body dysmorphia. I was a size 6 to a size 8 naturally because I was premature as a kid. So I was always a very small, petite person, but still feeling like I was too big in my body because I could naturally, like, when I sat down, I had a rolls. And so
And you
I
put
got
that
myself
all
into,
down to the media that you consumed and what you were led to believe.
well, not just the media, but like the conversations that are being had by other people, like, and just just general society. But everybody was trying to conform to that one aesthetic because, like when Jennifer Anderson had her haircut into that feathered look, and everybody had to have that haircut because it was the in thing. We're robots. We're not living in our own.
No.
We're not living in ourselves.
They had to go at Gary Barlow at one. There was a headline: "Take fat when he put on weight."
And even Robbie, I think, had that, didn't he, at some points in his career? So it's not just women; it happens to. But I do feel like it's, we're never gonna. The only way the cycle will break is if people like wake up to their own. Like, I sound really woke, don't I? But I'm not. I'm not really. But like I've realised, I think, through age, that it doesn't matter as long as my body's healthy. It doesn't matter what shape or whatever. And if I choose to dye my hair red, or
I know people of all shapes and sizes. Okay, and for me, as long as the body is healthy and in proportion for their size and build, that's the important thing. But there's people I know that are bigger built and are never going to be Kate Moss in a million lifetimes.
No,
and they wouldn't want to be. They would look awful if somehow by some awful fad, strict and probably dangerous diet they got down to that size. They would look awful, and and probably feel awful. And it's just not worth having health sacrificed on the altar of what we perceive to be beautiful, which changes every 10 bloody seconds.
It changes all of the time. But also, it's not necessarily about the physical health as well, but it's the mental health. Physical health, like, over time you can kind of get back to, you can like eat right or like exercise right and get your body back to a healthier space. But mentally, the deep roots that some of this can have on you, it can take a lifetime.
I remember reading a book way back it was a strange sounding book. You might know it if it's your field of study. You probably will. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. Do you remember that book?
No, I don't recognize it.
Oh, well, he was a plastic surgeon back in the day, and he would do these transformations on people and conform them to the standard of the day, whatever that is. I think he was American. But he would notice some people would be happy and it'd be a complete mental and emotional transformation, but some were not. And he said, and it's basically the inner work, the mindset. And if they're not happy with who they are, they're not going to be happy no matter what they look like. And that was the point of the book. It was the mental, perhaps the physical and mental. I think he was strongly suggesting they at least went in tandem with each other, not just one and expecting the other one to catch up. They've both. It's got, any change work is the inner work, if you like, if that's the right word, on yourself, and it all comes down to accepting yourself as you are. Have you heard of models of diversity?
So I've got my event on Tuesday. So the book launch for this book is on Tuesday at the Broadcaster in London, and Angel from Models of Diversity is one of my panel guests. So Angel's coming along. I've
had some dealings with Angel. She's a lovely woman, and she's doing great things.
Amazing work. And I think, the more that we can champion all bodies and showcase that you don't have to, like Sarah, who's in a wheelchair, like that. The only block that has on her is the block that society puts on her. Her wheelchair isn't something that enables her to do stuff, like it enables her to get out and about, right, and do things, but it's society that put that block on her, from not being able to, you couldn't potentially do this because you're in a wheelchair. and that's not true. Like you find ways around it, right? You work around.
And it's about empowerment as well. I think a lot of this must be about empowerment, because ultimately you get to decide what's beautiful and right for you.
Yeah.
And then it matters. And then if you can get to the place where it matters, not a fuck, 0 fucks given about what anyone thinks, that must be a nice place to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a good place. I don't think I'm definitely not there. Like, I do care. But I think I've definitely got to a place, like, I guess in my age as well, where I quite happily go out in my pajamas and not care whatever it is. Before I probably wouldn't have. But going back to the book and that psycho education, that embodiment as well, it's really important to understand the roots and understand your nervous system and the beliefs that, like we spoke about last time, didn't we? The beliefs and stuff that you've got, and not most of them aren't yours. And to do that inner work, as well as the aesthetics on the outside. Lots of people come into the Love Their Body Project community thinking that they're going to come in and learn, I don't know, like diet or how to like change things. And that's not how I teach. I teach mindset work and the inner work, the somatics. They're really learning how to, hello, Philip. Really learning how to, yes. Well, this what these injections and stuff that young people can get hold of those like on the black market, and it could do them harm.
I was talking about that on with another colleague this morning, and we're saying that is dangerous. I'm not against the injections per se, but it's got to be done. I'm not against them at all, but it's got to be done sensibly. You don't want to be sharing it or get it from the local street dealer. You really don't want to be doing that.
No, and I think that when like for me, like Kate Moss was like obviously advocating a certain aesthetic for me, and like as a young woman, like a young girl, teenager, like you look up to those people. I know that Serena Williams is endorsing one of the jabs. I don't know which one. And then again, that's another a woman that people look up to.
Yes.
And so that's the scary piece. It's not necessarily that people are using it and every day, like maybe like for medical reasons, or some people maybe need to lose weight for like operations and stuff, and it might help. And if it's being used safely, then absolutely. But there are people out there that are able to get hold of this that shouldn't be able to.
Yeah. And that's
at the moment.
I'm mindful of your voice. It's holding up very, very well.
Okay.
Hold up the book again. I'm going to take a quick screenshot and send it to you for posterity. Very nice.
Thank you. Yes. So if anybody wants to come and meet, quite a good few of the co-authors will be there. Angel from Models of Diversity, Hayley Palmer from TV.
Say hello to Angel for me. Over lockdown, I think it was her. We were doing a Models of Diversity. I was doing lots of virtual parties, just broadcasting music over the internet on my DJ decks, and it was actually a lot of fun. It kept us all sane through lockdown. But I did a party for Angel, and she loved all the lovers rock, the classic John Holt, Freddie McGregor, Maxi Priest. I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it. And she loved me that night. I was playing all her favourite songs, so she probably remembered me. Serena Novelli, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I hope the voice holds up, and good luck with the launch. And if people would like more details, it's all on beyondthemirror.com.
Yeah, come find us or come find me, and I'll help you or get you.
Okay, and you're welcome back on the Midday Show anytime. Keep us updated with what you're doing. Lovely speaking to you again. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon. Dave says, connectivity to the self as opposed to connected to the thoughts and actions of others is the key to balancing our health, self-worth and personal acceptance. And here he is, as if by magic. Boom. How are you, sir? I didn't get a word.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Just make sure before we go any further, that is the website address you want on the screen for this, is it?
That's the one, yep. That is where we are running the alpha wave therapy through.
Now, I really want to dig deeply into this because this really, really interests me. I know that we make brainwaves. Science has known that forever. I've heard of theta healing. I know beta is the one where all the stress lives. I know there's many ways of inducing alpha waves, some healthy, some might be a bit controversial. And there's other waves as well, like gamma, which is intense focus, theta, delta. I've heard of theta healing. Tell us the science. Tell us the science behind this. How does it work, Dave?
Okay, so there's kind of four main brainwaves that kind of for the art of therapy we work with. So gamma waves, as you say, really fast, really focused, and delta waves. Again, if you think about waves a bit like parts of an orchestra, right? They all do different things, and they have to work together in order to get the perfect sound. So gamma waves and delta waves, they're your harmonies, right? They are the top notes. Beautiful when they've got the right bass notes with them. Beta waves and alpha waves are those bass notes. And beta waves have a big range in frequency, but also in effect. So you can have low beta waves, you can have mid-range beta waves, and you can have high beta waves. It's high beta waves that drive anxiety, negative kind of tones. So when you've got someone who's really focused and that kind of high energy, attention to detail, but you've got high beta wave in the bass, you tend to have negative focus.
So they're going to be more the type A personalities, more prone to stomach ulcers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's where you get your anxiety. That's where you get your anxiety, etc. Alpha waves are what the brain naturally produces to try and calm everything else down. It's the most conscious, relaxed wave state that the brain produces. Now, there are other wave states that are produced when we are asleep, and they are focused on healing, energy, cell reproduction, etc. But they're kind of outside of our kind of conscious control, right? Because they only kick in once the body is paralyzed to sleep.
But alpha can be induced deliberately and beneficially. Is that what you're saying? And I read, and please correct me on any of this, it can be done in many ways. You could meditate, that would produce alpha waves, or you could smoke dope, and that would produce alpha waves as well, apparently.
Yep. Because what alpha waves can only exist when the brain is in its relaxed state. So whatever's going to bring that relaxed state to you is going to allow the brain to go, oh, alpha wave needs to be here. And the brain kind of goes and does the rest, which is brilliant. It's like you become the conductor for the orchestra inside your own head.
And how are you using this in the Wanstead Mental Health Clinic? You do a seminar on it, don't you?
So there's a seminar.
I very much doubt you sit there passing around the joint. That's probably not the way you do it.
No. By the end, you'll feel like this. But no, the way we work is through a partnership with the UK's leading alpha wave stimulator provider, which is a company called Alpha Stim, and they are a US company. That is the stimulator. That's basically what we use to generate the alpha wave, and completely portable. Can use it. You don't have to kind of go and shut yourself away. You can get on with your day and still be generating alpha waves. What we've done, Siobhan and myself at Wanstead Mental Health Clinic, is take that to the next stage, because you can generate the wave. That's absolutely fine. Not a problem. That has been around for about 30, 40 years. And the NHS is now using alpha wave stimulation for things like pain management, insomnia, some anxiety. Mind are using it for anxiety in some of their regional operations. So, which is all great when we know that's what we're dealing with. But what Wanstead Mental Health Clinic and APA have done is take it to the point of anxiety intervention. That point where someone is in a panic attack. So they've gone to the highest range of beta waves.
Stop there for a moment. So you were saying before, I do want to explore this deeply, but just for clarity, you were saying before alpha stim, you can use it, whatever the gadget is, and it will keep you in alpha all day. Yeah.
Okay, so
without having to consciously think too much about it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can't put it this way, you can't overdose on alpha waves, right?
No.
You can pretty much kind of do a lot of damage with some of the other kind of systems of generating alpha waves outside of meditation, right? But can you spend your whole day in a meditative state and get on with the rest of your day?
Probably not, any more than you could spend the whole day stoned and get on with your day.
Exactly. So what we've discovered and what Alpha Stim have been doing stateside and now into the UK is that you can have 20 minutes with this and it's given your brain enough for you to have that relaxed state through the rest of your day.
Right. Got it. And then you've taken that to the next level of when people really need the help and quickly.
Yeah. So by, most people know when someone's in a panicked state, try and get the breath under control. And we've seen great progress on understanding breath work, and people kind of swear by the power of that. But when someone's in a state of 30 breaths a minute, they're not in a capacity environment to be able to remember a breathing pattern, be able to engage with kind of the world around them in some cases.
Because we've talked about this on the show a lot, when you go into that fight or flight or anxiety, the prefrontal cortex shuts down and you literally don't have access to that unless there's something almost physical, like a jump lead that can jolt it. But to do it as an act of will.
There's your jump lead. So, and it's a great way of describing it, because what these devices do is generate the equivalent, even at full power, they generate equivalent to half the electrical output from one heartbeat. Now, most people would not need full power, but your brain only needs that amount of that electrical current created by that half a heartbeat to be able to go, relax. And it kickstarts, or as you mentioned, jumpstarts that process. But breath work only works up to the mid-range beta wave. Right? Which is why when most people take the classes and exercises, they're not in an elevated beta wave state. So they get this really great sensation because they've controlled the breathing, they've slowed everything down, but they're starting from the mid-range and coming down.
Makes sense, yeah.
Once they go into that upper range of beta waves, that breath work gets harder to tap into, right? By getting the brain to go to an alpha wave state and the body to come into that breath controlled state, you've got the two things working together rather than pulling each other apart. And that's alpha wave therapy at its core. It's the ultimate in intervention. So the brain and the body's nervous system work together in order to reduce that beta wave spike.
And I would imagine it's very hard to feel anxiety in an alpha wave state, if not impossible. It's just the wrong frequency.
Yeah,
It's all about vibrational frequency, isn't it? If we just go super metaphysical for a minute, it's all about vibration, energy, and frequency. And certain things can't exist in certain frequencies. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like you say, when that beta wave kicks in at the high range, the brain almost shuts off. That frontal cortex just goes shut down, survive. You're not needed right now. And the rest of the brain will do what it needs to do. And until time passes and that frontal lobe kind of goes, oh, okay, I can open up now. Not going to get anything through. Which is why, as much as and we talk about this tomorrow in the seminar, the awareness of anxiety is higher now than it has ever been in modern human existence.
Yeah.
Right. But the active intervention on anxiety at a point of need is not.
Hardly, I would say.
Right. I mean, I have come off of the tube in London, and I have seen people still using brown paper bags to bring that intervention to bear. Wow. And that can take 20, 30 minutes.
And you're right. You're right, because I mean the queues for the mental health services are huge, and then you probably do CBT, which really this sounds a lot more powerful. I feel, and it's not impossible to do with CBT. I'm not saying it is, but this sounds much quicker.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker. I mean, we've had.
How does it work at the seminar? You sit around in a circle and you wire people up, and how does it work? What do you do?
Okay, so tomorrow, what's happening is the people that are booked on, and there's still a couple of places if people want to get involved. So tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we'll get started. We'll go through what are brainwaves and how do they work, because a lot of people hear the science and go, or they hear frequency numbers. There's a way of actually appreciating the power that the brain produces through these waves. But if we understand that it's a balance of all of those things that we need in order to have that balanced output, we can actually start to decide what's the balance we want. So we've created kind of various intervention pathways for alpha wave therapy, from education to support children in schools, and people in college and university, because the anxiety in that arena is frightening in itself.
I know.
But the capacity for intervention and support is also at some of the lowest levels in the country. And we know that when you can have alpha wave therapy introduced into that arena, you don't have to disrupt somebody's day in order to get them back into a calmer state. So education, emergency services, this is absolutely phenomenal for these guys. And the US emergency services have been using alpha wave support for the best part of a decade in some places. So we are so behind the curve on these supports. So tomorrow we go through the waves, understand those, understand where this can be done and how it can be done, and at what points can these interventions be made.
So do people need to have this gadget on them all the time? I mean, no.
So the plan is, I mean, people can purchase these, have them at home. You know, I use this at the end of most days. mean, bearing in mind the work we do, right? I use one of these at the end of almost every day. And it is phenomenal. It's, 20 minutes, just sit, watch TV, just let it do its job, calm me down. And, I can get a decent night's sleep pretty much every night.
So you'd have to close your eyes and meditate. You can literally do it while watching.
No, you can get on with doing, you can, I wouldn't say go drive a Formula One racing car while you've got one of these on, but, it's, with common sense, you can pretty much carry on doing, get on with your life while it's plugged on.
And for those that don't have the gadget, you teach them at the seminar ways to access this whenever they need to on demand.
Yeah. So the second therapy is using that breath control. And because we're dealing with mass intervention at mass point of need, right? That worst point, we have taken, and I should mention here, we use the VC Elite Breath model, which is something that Siobhan designed over 20 years ago, has used with near enough every client in 20 years. The VC breath control method is designed to take someone who's got up to 30 breaths a minute and bring them down to 4 breaths a minute. Now,
so that's in for 7.5 seconds, out for 7.5 seconds.
As you're working through, what you're actually doing is letting your body tell you when it needs to take the next influx of air. You're starting to learn to listen to your body's need and use your whole lung set in order to get the maximum oxygen for your system.
Right.
And listening to your body to go, okay, I can feel this much at the moment, right? Feel that, hold that until your body's going, no, get this out. Okay, I've taken everything I need from this. You can get rid of the rest. Because
when you get that uncomfortable need to breathe or need to exhale feeling, yeah?
Right? Yeah. Because your lungs not got any more oxygen in there because it's already used, it's taken that out. So it's giving you what's left to get rid of. So when you're able to understand how breath works and how your body's assimilating that kind of oxygen and nutrient, you start to be able to, when you've got 12, 13, 15, 16 breaths a minute, and go, actually, do you know what? I don't want to go up any more than that. I need to bring this down. So you don't have to be in that hyper beta wave state in order to use this. So by understanding that component, and that's what we do in the second part of the seminar tomorrow, is go through what breath work kind of fits, how the body understands what you're teaching it with breath work, because the brain's a muscle, right? It remembers what you teach it. So the more you're able to practice that breath control of listening to your body going, okay, there's nothing here I need now, get this stuff out so I can get some more in. And each time that happens, your body goes, I need more lung space being used for the next lot of air coming in. So you start to fill your whole lung rather than just the top 25 to 30%.
Because a lot of people breathe like this. If you're listening on radio, you won't see what I'm doing, but it's basically breathing from your shoulders. I read somewhere that the higher up you breathe, the unhealthier you are. They always say, breathe with the diaphragm, and the higher up you go, the less quality you're taking, correct? Right.
So even that, if you look at a diagram of somebody's kind of respiratory system, you'll notice that the lungs go above the intake and the outtake point. Right? So the top of when you're in that hyper beta wave state and your breath is that short in, short out, panting, air isn't getting past the entrance point. It's going in and being sucked straight back out.
Right.
Which drives the beta wave into survival mode, because you're going, I'm not getting any air here. You're starving me of oxygen.
Yeah.
Right? So it just...
So that's why panic attacks get worse. And the more you...
Exactly. Right?
Yeah, because it doesn't feel... You're doing that to feel better, and it doesn't feel better, so you do it more. And you get into that vicious circle because of literally what you've just described. I see.
And then you start to hyperventilate. Right?
Yes.
Hyperventilation, in, out, in, out. You're not actually getting any oxygen from there, right? You're keeping yourself going, but you're not actually getting anything your body can use. But also consider that the top part of your lung very rarely gets any, because your bronchioles drive air down into the lungs. So you're only really using the middle range of your lung on a day-to-day basis. Once you start using the VC breath model, you start to actually force that air up into the top of your lungs, where it's not going to get sucked out straight away. Right? So you actually start to use your system for your own benefit, which means
and
you've
do
got
it deliberately and do it in the way that's right for you. Isn't it amazing that human beings have been on this planet for goodness knows how long, and we struggle with the most basic things like eating, breathing, sleeping. You know,
yeah. I mean, you go to, I can remember going to my first martial arts lesson. I must have been 13. It's one of the few childhood memories that I still have.
Right.
But the very first lesson, we did nothing but breathe. And most kids were bored of that and never went back. But I was lucky. I had somebody who actually told me why. Because
wax
when
on,
you can
wax
control,
off.
I mean, this was ballpark, you know, and it was a bit after, you know, Karate Kid. But when it was explained and I understood that the power of that, taking what that breath is for the body and what breathing out is every toxin that's in your lung. If you breathe properly, it gets it all out in one go. But you've got to fill the stuff in the first place. Let your body take the stuff it needs and then get rid of the rest. And
I would love to come to this seminar. Is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. Yeah. 10 starts at 10 and we'll finish. I'm aiming to be done by about 3:00.
I'd love to come. Would it matter if I was a bit late? Don't wait for me. Obviously,
no,
I'm asking.
No, of course not.
I'd really be very tempted to come. I've actually been looking up how to get to Wanstead. Are you near the tube station?
Right across from Wanstead tube station. It's literally, I can see the station from our main room.
I would love to come. I may well do it.
Do you know what? It'd be great to have you here. It would be absolutely phenomenal.
And I'll tell you what we could do afterwards. We get you back on the Midday Show, and I can talk through my experience of it.
No, it'd be fun.
And
everyone that comes tomorrow is going to experience alpha wave stimulation. Absolutely everybody. And the reason being is there are practitioners that want to become alpha wave therapy practitioners. They want to be able to deliver this to their clients. Now, because the breath work that's involved in interventions is as extreme as it is, we have to take people through what are the things that they must observe when they're taking somebody through this. What are the things? What are the risks of somebody kind of being able to hold that breath and making sure that they're not holding it for too long?
So there are risks.
Because
it's not completely
you're holding on to what the stimulation is completely risk-free. Unless, of course, you're driving a Formula One racing car or trying to fly a jet, right? I'm not taking any responsibility for that.
No, that would be silly.
Yeah, I'm really relaxed. Oh, okay, not my problem.
Exactly.
Right, but with elite breath control, and this is only about the practitioner being aware of what to look for, because somebody doing this on their own without any of the other professional know-how or anything else, they run the risk of getting really lightheaded while the brain is getting alpha wave relaxation. That's
so it's yes, understood.
Right. If you're going to go, and it's the breath work is only to support the direct intervention. So you're only talking about the breath work in that extreme intervention. But once you know how to do it, once you've got that awareness, you're able to take your own breath control to a whole new level. I mean, we've taken athletes that have come off of the running track, having just done personal best sprint times, taken them through the breath control so that they can then go and do conversations without sounding like they're about to keel over.
Yes. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but yes, I mean, that's a very simple but practical, because you see them when they come off, it's like they've got the microphone stuck in their face and the reporter's there.
Yeah, right. Now, imagine what that does to, as a former competitive athlete, if I could tell my opponents that I was totally calm after having that kind of race, and I can go, okay, let's have a conversation. I mean, it was a great run, wasn't it? I mean, personal best. I mean, I just did 49 seconds over.
Yeah, they're all standing there going, and you're like super chilled out and zen.
It's like, the next time I go on the track, I've got a psychological advantage.
Oh yes, they'd all be wondering what this magic of yours is.
Right, and that's the same in the workplace. You think about the anxiety and the tension that, just look at kind of some of the stuff that you've been through within the radio industry, and some of those tension flashpoints. Imagine just in 20 minutes, just being able to go, okay.
It would have been an absolute godsend. I mean, it sounds like the whole country
needs this.
So I'm guessing you've got big plans. What's the dream here? To roll it out everywhere?
Okay, so we have already had conversations with Transport for London, right, who are looking at the potential with their return to work cohort. So tube drivers that have been on kind of mental health reduced duties, or bringing them back to work. The anxiety that they have coming back into that environment is off the chart. You think some of the things that these guys will have seen or had to deal with going back is frightening. So TfL are looking at this for their return to work cohort. We know that alpha wave stimulation is currently being used by one or two Premiership football clubs for their players. Which
interesting
is
question. When you're in flow state, which we all love a flow state, what brain waves are being produced there? Is that alpha?
So you've got either low beta and gamma waves working together in harmony. So remember, you've got
not alpha.
So alpha is that relaxed kind of just before you fall asleep state, right? So
because when I've been in flow state, you're right. It's like an intensely focused and in the moment. Mm-hmm. That's the gamma, but completely relaxed and going with the flow at the same time. Yeah. It's a relaxed alertness.
Yeah. So you'll either...
And that doesn't do it justice. It's blissful. It's brilliant. It's amazing.
Upper range alpha wave and low range beta wave. Yeah. right? And this is what I mean by it. Think about it, the brain waves like an orchestra, right? Each frequency is a different instrument, right? You need or a different section of the orchestra, maybe a better way of thinking about it, right? And you need all of it performing in tune, in time with everything else. And when it does, you can have that focus and relaxation, and you just in the zone.
And it's amazing. And it's amazing. There's been a lot of research. I'm sure you've read it all. A really good one to watch is what's his name? Kotler, Stephen Kotler. He did a lot of work on it, and he's done really interesting. I think it's on the YouTube TED Talks and that about flow state. And he did the research in the field of extreme sports, where he'd see these people performing these incredible feats. You know, think skiers that do 4 loops on the dangerous slope and then or 4 somersaults and then land perfectly, or climbing a sheer rock face at 300 feet in the air without a safety net.
Yeah, I mean these people are scientifically bonkers. I will put that there. But they are, like you say, they are in that zone. They have got to that point where their knowledge, their understanding, their experience, and their physical and psychological balance are all working together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you should go out and try these things. I'm just saying that's where the research came from. Asa Don Brown. After you were saying.
I was just very quickly. You were asking what's the plan? We would like to see alpha wave therapy on every aircraft on the planet. In the same way, they now have EpiPens and they have defibs. Because an anxious flyer who has a panic attack in flight diverts flights. It's that simple. And it's contagious. You have 300 people with somebody having a panic attack now. You are going to have more than one person having a panic attack.
Yes, it is contagious. Dr. Asa Don Brown, and I understand, Dr. Asa, it's your birthday today. Is this true? A very happy birthday to you, sir. Peace and prosperity and all good wishes from across the pond. Dr. Asa, as a clinical psych, I've implemented many forms of therapies that you speak of, as well as I have a few of my own theories and orientation. Dave, I want to pose a couple of questions that have been posed to me in the past. Does brain mapping or neurofeedback, as it would be scientifically called, brainwave training sessions, interfere with current medications?
As far as we know, no. It becomes an amplifier. So
good.
That's where that's at. And the other thing to bear in mind is the research on this has included supporting people with neurodiversity and their kind of anxieties, etc. And the outcomes of that are just phenomenal.
Would it be that's brilliant because it's needed. Would the protocol be different for them if they're neurodiverse? No. Cool. No. Are there any side effects reported for neurofeedback or brainwave therapies?
Not as far as we're aware, and certainly not with the alpha stim protocols.
I mean, from what you've said, it sounds completely benign. The only caveat is, be careful if you get lightheaded because that can happen when you're breathing. But apart from that, I can't see any downside. Yeah,
I mean, we had an amazing review from somebody that used this within the clinic, which is on our website, and people are more than welcome to go and see. But this was a single mum of 3 teenagers,
right,
who, after her first session, reported that the day-to-day anxiety, stress, and triggering that those 3 delightful young people created on a day-to-day basis just wasn't there. Best night's sleep. She did say that when she stood up straight afterwards, because she was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. was like, whoa, okay, there's that lightheadedness because the blood flow just needed to kick back in. But which is why when we do the sessions, we always say to somebody, when it finishes, just wait a second. Give yourself.
I've decided I'm coming. I'm going to come. I might be late. Obviously, don't wait for me. I don't expect you to, but I will come. I'm going to come tomorrow.
Brilliant. It'll be great to have
if that's all right. And I'm going to ask my girlfriend if she'd like to come as well, because I think this would really help her.
Be absolutely.
You've got a couple of spaces, and we'll obviously pay the going
rate.
Look,
I will move chairs. I will find chairs. And there
so if anyone would like to come, I know we go out globally. It's if you go to Wanstead MH, which stands for mental health, wansteadmhclinic.com, and just good luck with it all, and keep us. And what we do, we get you back on the midday show. I'm just looking, maybe next week, October the 1st, and I can report back. Will that be all right?
Look, I will make the time. You know as well as I do, I have both through APA and through the clinic since we launched in January, have done absolutely everything we can to support the midday show and its earlier.
I know you have.
And this is no different. So if anybody wants to come along tomorrow, go to the website, book the last of those few tickets, and we will see you tomorrow. There will be more seminars, and there will be a dedicated training for any professionals that want to become a practitioner, but that's obviously going to be a lot more detailed. And
it's 25 quid. Yeah.
It's 25 quid for the day. We will take a break for lunch, which is on you guys. I mean, Wanstead is cafe capital.
For this leading edge information, 25 quid is nothing. You could sign up to something online like this and pay thousands for this.
Yeah, and this is why we did this for tomorrow. So because we're not going to go into the details of the kind of the breath work other than understand how it works. This is an introduction, but it will give people a chance to experience Alpha Wave for themselves, and it will give them an understanding of why we've made that support system available as part of our walk-in service. So someone can walk through the door and say, I just need 20 minutes. Just let me relax before I get home at the end of the day, please. Because ultimately, this helps individuals be calmer at the end of the day. Whether we're looking at this for the transport sector, but we're looking at this for schools, the emergency services, anybody in that commuter environment. This is something that really makes a difference. And because it's not an intervention, it's not like the stuff Bruce Lee was talking about using electrical current to kind of get the muscles to learn. This is something that actually makes a difference. And because we're giving people that understanding of breath work on top of that, they can actually start to learn and listen to their body and work with it.
At last, yeah.
So just like the conversation that you had earlier, it's all about self-awareness. And the more self-aware we are, the more balanced we get. The more balanced we get, the less we're impacted by what's going on around us.
Yeah. I don't think there's any human being alive on this planet that couldn't benefit from this, apart from the Dalai Lama, possibly. I don't know, but maybe.
I think that he's probably put something in one of these gadgets already. I think he's in this.
Dave Sleep, thank you so much for your time, and of course all your support for the show, both the midday show and when it was MRS before that. You've been one of our most loyal listeners and contributors, and we appreciate that. wansteadmhclinic.com. I'll see you tomorrow. All right.
Look forward to it.
Very much look forward to it. And thank you so much for your time. No worries.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, you too, buddy. What a show. Dave Stevens says, hi, Russ. Russ isn't here. I don't know if you'll be pleased that you think I look like him, but he will be back on Friday with Phil Dave, King of the Cravats, and Chantal Ricards, telling all the good stuff to watch on TV and on our many screens. And Jonathan Baz Theatre Clinic as well. I'd also like to say thank you to my other guest who was on earlier, Serena Novelli, braving out the loss of voice this morning. She's on the lockets and it was working. serenanovelli.com, sex and relationships coach and author, as well as many other things. And if you want to check out her work, it's beyondthemirror.com, new book launch, many contributors to the book, and that's all about, like Dave was saying, self-awareness, but this time in the body confidence and the sexuality world, rather than applying it to everyday life and stress management like Dave is talking about. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Asa Don Brown. Happy birthday. I believe it's your birthday. Have a wonderful celebration, whatever you're doing. Another great contributor to the show. Dave Sleet, I'll see you tomorrow, man. And I'll be back on Monday with Russ. In the meantime, a very good afternoon to you, and you take the best of care.